Hey, looks like we're up and running. Let's go. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third round, which was a couple of weeks ago now. I've been a little bit busy and also sick, which is why this is a little bit late. But anyway, this is round three. We're at Brands Hatch today, tier 2 white. Uh, let's have a quick look at the standings. So, standings at the moment. We got Sam in the lead, who's actually not taking part in this round or the round after. So he's going to lose the lead of the championship. Second place is Chrissy, who's got 3 podiums out of the 4 races this season. Only 3 points behind Sam, but he's got 13 points on Giles, who's only got the 1 podium so far this season, but always in the top 6. So it seems like it could be between them two. Arukis and X90G are really close as well. And then potentially Hasnain, who's a new driver, got a P4 and a P1 in Nordschleife, so we'll have to see what he could do in today. Well, you can already see he's on pole position. So let's go through the grid. Let's turn my volume off so that I can actually see the YouTube comments. Right, so Harry lining up P16 in the AMG, which is pretty surprising. He's been doing a bit better so far. So yeah, not sure what happened to him in quali. Potentially outside shot of a reverse grid pole. Then we got Zab in the Nissan GTR P15 and Filthy P14 in the Porsche. Both of them struggling to score the big points since coming up from tier 3 last season. Brummy in 13th is a little bit lower than we'd expect to see him. He usually has really good qualifying pace. And then we've got Hurricane in 12th in the Lexus. He's been in the lower reaches of the top 10 pretty much all season long. Didn't do too well at Nürburgring. So yeah, these guys all trying to aim for those lower top 10 positions to start with. Tap, bit of a disappointing one for him in the Lambo. He's starting at 11th. Then we got Shadow, our tier 4 champion, lining up in 10th place in the Lexus. Arukis, who is, like I said, one of the championship contenders, he's actually the lowest qualifying of them. Him and Giles lining up in 8th and 9th. They'll probably be a little bit disappointed. Higgsy having a much, much better qualifying here in the top 7 this time round. Has really struggled this season. We got Kling. I'm going to call him Kling, or Kachow. I don't know. I'll call him Kling. He is 6th on his debut in the Renault. I think the Renault should be pretty good round here. Then we have Jack, who's been a bit up and down in terms of his results, but he definitely does have the pace if he can find some more consistency. Lining up 5th place in the other Nissan. Chrissy, our de facto championship leader with Sam not racing, is up in 4th place, but again, he's in the Porsche. It's going to have some bad starts. He might get overtaken by 2 or potentially 3 cars, even though it's a short run down to turn 1. Henna's probably his best qualifying, I would say, after being promoted from tier 3. Also, X90G promoted from tier 3, just out qualifying everybody who was in tier 1 or 2 in this tier last season. And then we've got Hasnain on his second start. He is on pole position, so that is pretty good for him. He's on a tier 1 watch for next season, I reckon, if he continues that, because the GR Super is not one of the quickest cars anymore, and he's still managing to be at the very front. So a Brands Hatch sprint, we've got 11 laps. Let's see what happens into turn 1. I do know there were a lot of steward reports. I didn't actually see any of them, but we'll probably see them as time progresses. Lights out and away we go. Let's see, X90G going to get the bump. It looks like Hennes is going straight into P1. Aslam Hasnain has dropped all the way down to 3rd already. It looks like Hennes is going to take the lead into turn 1. Has everyone got through all right? Chrissy is still in 6th, so he's not fallen back too much. Looks like Giles has fallen down to 9th place there. And a little bit of argy-bargy right at the back, but everyone pretty much as they started. Let's see what happened to Brummy, because he was 12th. Well, he started 13th. Let's have a couple of replays of turn 1 here. So he's got the inside line for this corner, so he should have been able to... Oh, he goes really deep, and then a little bump. He doesn't go completely onto the gravel, but yeah, a bit of an unforced error for Brummy. and then he's just going to get muscled out of a few positions because he found himself caught outside into the corner, and Zab just gets bumped past him thanks to Filthy there. So he's got a bit of recovery to do. Let's see what happens to Giles in 8th place. Looks like again he's stuck on the outside. Through comes Arukis through the middle, which is going to make Giles have to slot behind him, and he's going to get that position back on the inside of the next corner. He gets a little tap from his teammate Tap into turn 2 there, and he's going to try and get around Higgsy, potentially Higgsy down a couple of spots as well. It's not a good start for the GR Supras. So let's see how everyone is doing. Looks like X90G is going to try and get that position on Henners, and he takes the lead of the race into turn 3 there, and Henners is going to try and get that position back. Let's ride on board on Hasnain, because Hasnain is going to be the only one who can take this next really fast speed corner at full speed here. He might be able to get past 1 or 2 of these. And there's a little bit of contact between them. Hasnain not able to take full advantage of it. He's having to back out, and these guys are still too wide. And we're going to have Jack. Oh, someone is in the wall. Let's see what happened to him. Is this an unforced error? Doesn't seem to be under any sort of pressure here. Just gets on the throttle too early and hits the wall, gives himself some damage as well, and that is potentially his chance of a top 10 completely gone. You can see Harry there trying to get up into the top 10. He's just overtaken Tap, and there's been a bit of contact. What's happened there? Tap's all over the back of Harry. He's not really in a good position there to get a move done. Harry actually hits the back of Hurricane, who's really slow, and it just looked like a very small contact, and Harry is all the way at the back again. So end of lap 1, it's already been jam-packed. Looks like Hasnain has managed to get past Henners as well, so let's just see what happened here. Multiple incidents and overtakes. Henners just nudged very slightly onto the grass, loses that position to Hasnain. And now Chris and Jack are side by side. Chris finding himself in an awkward position here. Jack's going to be able to defend the inside. Aruka's really close behind as well. These are all trying to get good sprint points here for the championship. Aruka's got a fantastic exit there. He's probably going to get Chris into this corner. Is he going to try and get Jack as well? He's going for it. Jack gives him the room. And some late braking. This could be 2 positions for the price of 1. And is Chris going to follow him through? Yeah, I do know that one was reported. I do remember seeing that. And that is very unlucky for Jack. Let's see it again. He was in such a good position in P4. Found himself in an awkward spot for turn 2. And Chris just gives him a little nudge, enough to send him absolutely flying. He should have lifted a little bit to avoid the spin. So, lots and lots of incidents on the opening lap, and it's really benefited Abrukis actually, up into P4 from what he would have probably been a little bit disappointed with his qualifying. 2 Peugeots in the top 6 as well, because our race leader X90G is also in the Peugeot. So, little hidden gem, it looks like, this Peugeot this season. Definitely seems to be enjoying. Oh, is that gonna open the door for Hasnain to try and get his lead back? He lost it on the opening corner of, well, even before the opening corner, and it wasn't enough there. But X90G's under a lot of pressure now that he wasn't under. He built himself a nice little cushion. Now, probably the top 6 or 7, all incredibly close. If there's any slight mistake from these guys, then the door will be open. Looks like everyone's taking the final corner pretty solidly. Top 11 all very close. Then you got a bit of a gap. Filthy in 13th trying to get past Zab for P12, and Kling, who we saw in the wall, actually recovering pretty nicely from his damage. At the front, Hasnain really challenging X90G. X90G going purple here, but Arukas has the fastest lap so far with a 24.6. Yeah, everyone is starting to settle in a little bit now, and we might be getting to a little period where the top 5 are starting to break away from Giles in P6 and Higgsy in P7. yeah, definitely the top 5 are in a bit of a class of their own. So let's follow Chrissy, who, like I said, is our de facto championship leader here. He needs a little bit better than a P5 in his sprint, considering the guys ahead of him are all fairly close on points. But no one seems to be making much of a mistake here. Henna's is kind of the odd one out of this group, because he is a bit lower down in the point standings for a driver who's competed both of the previous rounds. Oh, look, Arukas looks like he's got a bit of a run on Henna's actually. Henna's might have a run on Hasnain as well. Hasnain going defensive. Henna's going to try a very late move. No, he's not. But Hasnain completely misjudges the brakes, trying to go defensive, and he's lost 3 positions in one go there. So that is absolutely massive for the pole sitter. A big mistake there. Let's see it again from his point of view. So coming out of the final corner, he doesn't get as good of an exit as X90G, all the drivers behind. And Henna's, just by placing his car slightly on the inside, clearly spooked Hasnain, and he just couldn't take the corner. It is a trail braking corner, so you have to get your braking at basically 100% spot on to be able to make it successfully. So if you are offline, or trying something a little bit different, it can backfire like that. Arukas now trying to get past Henna's as well, and Henna's, oh, he's had a bit of contact, nearly span it. He's having to go defensive from Hasnain. Now he's going to take that position back potentially. Henna's going to fight it, so Arukas and Chris both up a couple of positions there on this lap. Hasnain getting past Henna's as well. Let's see what happened there again. Was there contact? Let's see. I mean, he wasn't really alongside enough to do it, but Henna's could have done a little bit better to avoid the half spin. That's a difficult one. Maybe it was reported, maybe not, but let's see what this little drag race between Henna's and Aslam comes to. Gill's starting to catch up to these guys now as well, because mistakes are starting to creep in. That was a very slow corner there for Henna's. Yeah, Gilles is right behind him now. Good little exit there though. And what can Arukas do? We now have a Peugeot 1-2 situation. What is going to happen between the Peugeot boys? Are they going to be fighting? They both could potentially be in with a shot at winning this title. They both started fairly well. I think they both got wins. Aiming for win number 2 here. And it does look like Arukas is the quickest out of the pair of them. Chrissy hanging on in there as well. Jack's actually the man with the fastest lap. I think he's cut off from the pack though. So we're around about halfway into the race. There's been quite a lot of action here. Let's see, who's on reverse grid pole at the moment? It looks like Tap's on reverse grid pole, right behind Hurricane. We got Brummy, Zab, Filthy, Kling must have made another mistake. Then we got Jack, who's just about catching up to this pack now, after losing 13 or 14 seconds on lap 2. And Harry, after his poor lap 1, is just cruising at the back, which is a bit unfortunate for him. The Peugeots kind of don't want to be putting pressure on each other, because there's too many drivers too close behind. If these start fighting, they could both potentially not end up on the podium if things go wrong. And yeah, I think Arukas might understand that, and he's just fairly happy to stay behind at the moment. They are dropping Chrissy a little bit, so 24 threes for those two, 24-2 for, something's happened to Chrissy. What's happened to Chrissy? He's gone too deep on the final corner, he's gone completely off track there. Is he going to keep it? He is still pointing the right way. Is Henna's going to swoop through as well? Chrissy should be defending the inside going into turn 1 here, and he doesn't. but he still has enough to make the corner just fine. Might have some dirty tyres here if Hennes is feeling brave. So lots of unforced errors in this sprint race. Oh, Arukas nearly lost it on the dirt as well. That's allowed S18 to get away. Hasnain might be able to get his P2 back here. I'm starting to see why our tier 2 sprint race was quicker than this one. Already, even the top 5 are making big mistakes, but trying to... Oh, something's happening between Hennes and Gilles. Hennes trying to get a move on Chris, got a poor exit as a result of it, and Gilles is going to try and swoop around the outside on the back straight now. Lamborghini versus AMG. Gilles actually has the slip of Chrissy here helping him out, but Hennes has the inside line and keeps the position. Switchback not really possible there for Gilles either. But he might get a better run here. Hennes already feeling the need to go defensive for this really tricky right-hander coming up. Hennes going to be out of shape. Manages to keep some good speed there and keep that P5 for now. Now he's going defensive into the next right-hander. Again, if Gilles times the application of the throttle right, he doesn't. Higgsy might be getting ripe for a move here as well. He had to back out. He couldn't get alongside enough before the turn in, and he backed out of that one. Hennes all over the place now here. And still managing to keep this position. Losing a lot of time to the top 4 now. But yeah, that was a whole lap of Hennes defending really well actually. We got the 2 Lexus in 8th and 9th, which it puts them in a great position for the feature race with the tank on that thing. Right, what can Gilles do now? He is similarly close to Hennes. It looks like Hennes is going to be able to cover it off and actually take a corner normally here. And we're back to massive defending. Gilles is going to try, and that's not a good idea, and he thought better of it. And it is pretty much as you were, closer to the front. Aruka's coming under pressure now from Hasnain. We've got 4 laps left of the race. It is starting to settle down a little bit. Gilles still putting the pressure on Hennes, but Hennes looking a bit more comfortable now. Hurricane's just overtaken his teammate, so where'd that happen? Actually, looks like Shadow didn't really fight that one. Spotting the Aero GT branding, and then Tap is in the top 10, so we've seen yeah, these guys all making mistakes towards the back. Jack's still with that fastest lap as well, so that's not going to be beaten now. So at least Jack's going to get that 1 point. Basically, the top 14 have all stayed fairly close to each other in this sprint race. Despite some trips off track, the pack is pretty compact, I would say. A lot of them not actually making any mistakes and picking off the odd position where possible. Let's do a little... oh, someone's got a penalty. It's Chrissy. He was in the top 3, got overtaken, and now he's going to lose a bit of time. But Hennes is way too far back to for that to be an issue. Hennes looking a bit more comfortable now compared to Gilles. Yeah, some equal gaps appearing now. Tap is in 9th, is in 10th, tracing down 9th. Having to be a bit patient by the looks of things. Yeah, some Really consistent driving from these Lexus drivers. They are in a great position, like I said, for the feature race here. Oh, someone's got completely off track. Higgsy, it was going so well. Actually goes purple by 1/10.5. Completely on the grass there with his right-sided tyres. Gives himself a lot of damage. Hurricane gives him a little nudge out the way. And nearly spins it again, and now Tap gets through as well. Brummy's going to get through to get reverse grid pole now, surely. And that is a disaster for Higgsy. It was going so well, and one little mistake has put him outside the points and outside of the feature race reverse grid. And he's still got some damage, so he's just going to be hoping and praying at this point that someone else makes a similar mistake in these last couple of laps. At the front, Arukas has started reeling in X90G, his teammate, and he has dropped Hasnain a little bit as well, but these three are miles ahead of Chris. Looks like Chris just stopped pushing after his half-second penalty, because he is getting caught now by Hennes on this last couple of laps. Maybe tyre management is a thing as well. Looks like Arukas has slightly worse tyre management than his teammate. Might be more exaggerated in the feature. Hennes and Shields. There's a big gap now because of all that drama down to Hurricane. So Hurricane 7th, Shadow 8th, and Tap try to get that P8 off of Shadow. Looks like a decent exit for Shadow, but Tap is still close enough to take advantage. I don't know what Hurricane's doing. He should be giving his teammate a bit of slipstream. And Shadow taking the corner pretty well. The problem Shadow's got now is that Hurricane's definitely holding him up a bit. You can see that in that corner. That's why Tap has got a bit of a run on him down to this next one. And here comes Brummy on Tap. Tap loses a bit of traction. There's a bit of contact there. And it's pretty much as you were, but look at this. So we got 3 wide into the final corner. This is not going to end well. Higgsy backs out of it. Filthy gets a double overtake there. Heading into the final lap, this is the battle for reverse grid pole. And bloody hell. That was a dive and a half. And Filthy makes it through. Actually, they all made it through in one piece at least. But yeah, advantage Filthy in this battle for reverse grid pole. And it was looking so good for Brummy, but he just found himself caught out on the outside of that final corner. Looks like Arukas looking to challenge for the win on this final lap against his teammate. Again, they have to be careful because Hasnain could overtake both of them if they start battling. This is huge for the Constructors' points as well. I see a Peugeot Constructors Champion, which I'm not sure if we've had a Peugeot Constructors Champion. Long way to go in the championship though. So, approaching the final corner, and it's going to be basically a lights to flag victory for X90G. Coped with the pressure incredibly well from multiple different drivers who fell off at various points. P2 for Rukas, P3 for Hasnain. Chrissy, our championship leader now, is P4. Hennes in 5th place and Giles is in 6th. Then there's a big gap down to Hurricane ahead of his teammate Shadow. Tap 9th. Filthy just gets reverse grid pole. From Brummy. You have Higgsy, Kling, Jack, Zab's been in the wars, as has Harry. Yeah, he's had some very slow laps on lap 6, 7, 8. So, great result for Peugeot. Great result for Chris, who takes the championship lead now. And let's do... Where are we doing? Following. I have to go quite a bit into the past to actually find this race. There it is. At least I was still on page 1. And I had to pick up one of the tier 4s from last season at the end of the season. I was going back about 5 or 6 pages to actually find the replays, which was a nice little hunt to do before you actually start streaming. Okay, so this feature race is a really interesting one. A one-stop, although possible, is a very stupid thing to do because you're just going to lose way too much time. The pit lane is super short, and the hard tyres are really crap around here. So, we got Filthy starting on the softs. Great decision, in my opinion. Could do the soft medium, or soft medium. It depends on how good he is with his tyres. Medium's for Tap, so he is the highest running medium driver. He'll be going a little bit later than Filthy, and a few of the others potentially could get undercut by some of them. Shadow on the mediums, Hurricane on the mediums, Geels on the mediums, and Henna's. Let's see if anyone further down is on anything that isn't a medium. No. So that's kind of bad news for anyone who's not really high up already. They're going to have to be a little bit inventive with when they come into the pits if they can't get past the drivers in front on track. So this is really good for Tap, especially when he's got the 2 Lexus boys behind him. What he needs to do is create maybe 7-8 second gap ahead of Shadow and Hurricane, because otherwise they could just jump him in the pits with the fuel advantage. Gilles needs to try and get past them as well. So we're going to have a nice Lexus Lamborghini battle between P2, 3, 4, and 5. Filthy, his job is basically just to get away as quickly as he can, build up a big enough lead that you could come in, make your pit stop, don't put in any fuel, and come out in front of at least most of these guys before they make their pit stops. And that is possible. It is possible. So let's get going. 29 laps of Brands Hatch here for us now for the feature race. Filthy takes us away. And it is a rolling start, so we're not expected to see any major dramas into turn 1. Maybe a poor turn 1 would set some of these guys up for turn 2. It looks like Filthy's already getting away from the pack a little bit there. Everyone started to bunch up. Looks like Brummy's getting overtaken early on there by Higgsy. So there's the opening overtake of the race. Let's go back to the front. Filthy is expanding his lead, as we expected. So he's driving just as he should be. Tap is going to be at the head of the train. Jill's putting a lot of pressure on Hurricane early doors as well. And Henna's looks like he's going to try and get past. This is some shocking camera angles here. So Jill's covering off Henna's a little bit. Chrissy behind, then you've got Arukis in 8th, Marriott 9th, and someone, Hasnane's made a big mistake somewhere. Oh! So is this an unforced error? It's very easy to go too deep here if you brake too late, and he does brake too late, and he goes completely off track there. Higgsy nearly loses it, probably a bit distracted. So this is good for Brummy. Brummy's going to get into 11th, and he's going to try and get past Higgsy, who overtook him at turn 2, remember. Is he feeling brave? He's not really alongside. Higgsy gives him the space anyway. And keeps the position. Kling's got past Hasnane as well. Excuse me. So Hasnane down in 13th at the start. The guy who qualified on pole position. Filthy's got a gap of maybe 1.5 seconds on Tap. He needs to really grow that advantage. Tap needs to kind of avoid getting involved in any kind of battling here with Shadow, because if these two start going side by side, then Filthy's just going to completely fly away, and it's going to create a bit of a different dynamic for the race. But yeah, solid enough start there for Tap. He's kept Filthy not too far ahead after the first lap, and he is just ahead of Shadow. Shadow's looking pretty racy on these medium tyres. But like I said, oh, something's happened to Giles as well. Why is he down in 7th? So we got overtaken by Henners there. Let's see how that happened. That looked like a great overtake for Henners. Giles a little bit out of shape out of that corner. And then he's just caught on the outside there. Nothing he can do about it. Henners threaded the needle through that corner to make sure that he stayed on track and got the overtake done. Now Chrissy's feeling a little bit feisty here. And it looked like he was taking a little bit more on the track. Giles looking like he wants to try and get that position back from Henners, but he's got to worry about what's going to happen behind him with Chris here. Now Chris, yeah, the door was left open and he took it, essentially. Whoa, 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 what's going on there? So Arukis was in this battle as well. Caught on the outside, and then he tried to switch and cut in, but he took too much of the corner. Another unforced error. Oh, and he's nearly lost it again. And there is down to 15th for Arukis. So two of the guys right at the front in the sprint race have already had an absolute disaster at the start of this feature. Filthy with a 30.6 compared with 31 flat, so he's 4/10 quicker than Tap after the opening couple of sectors, to give you a bit of an idea of how much quicker Filthy is at this stage of the race. His tyres are still pretty fresh, obviously, it's only lap 2. Tap looking a bit more comfortable ahead of Shadow. Hurricane has a bit of a gap in front and behind. Henners and Chrissy will be catching up to him fairly soon. Then we've got Giles after his mistake, coming under pressure from our sprint winner, X90G. Then we got Higgsy and Brummy trying to do something as well. Oh, what have I done there? So let's join on board with our sprint race winner. Obviously didn't have to do any overtaking apart from off the line in the sprint, and he's going to have to get a little bit inventive here to make some of these positions look. He's already got 2, but that's because of the other 2 podium finishers from the sprint race making mistakes and going off track of their own accord. Not much that to be done there, but let's see what Chrissy's up to, because he's looking really close behind behind Henners now, and you can tell Hurricane's coming closer to them with every passing corner. So Hurricane might be at the start of a bit of a train here if he's not careful, and that train would be beautiful for Filthy, actually. Oh, something's kicking off back there. Kling has got off track. How did this happen? Jack's trying to make a position here. He has gone up the inside. Bit of a dive bomb, I have to say. And yeah, Kling's come off a little bit worse than that. Actually, way worse. So that's what's happened at the back. Filthy with the fastest lap of 125.2. He's a little bit slower on this time around. That was only a couple of tenths quicker than what Tap did. So he's not getting the most out of these soft tyres as it stands. But compared to someone like Hurricane who's on a 26.4, that's 2.2 seconds a lap slower Hurricane is currently than Filthy. So if you multiply that a few more times, or if Henners tries to move and can't get past Hurricane, that is going to help. But at the moment, I think the top 10 at least are all a bit too close together for Filthy's strategy to pay off fully at this stage. But there is time. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm not very well. So start lap 4. Henner's actually settling in a little bit behind Hurricane. Doesn't seem in too much of a rush. Maybe he's fuel saving. Got Hasnain back in the top 10. Arukis is recovering up to 13th at the moment. Brummy, pretty solid in 9th. Just trying to see where any of the battles might be. It's surely going to be here, isn't it? The thing is, Hurricane's not got probably the pace of the guys around him, but he is not making any mistakes. He might be just taking a little bit too much speed off of his car when he's taking some of these corners. And what's good for Team Alexis at the moment, P3 and P4, Shadow's keeping up with Tag pretty nicely. And Shadow, if he can keep this close to both Tap and Filthy into the pits. Oh, he's gone for it! What a late break, what an overtake as well. And Hurricane's just been completely caught out. And Chris is trying to take advantage as well into the final corner. And he's going to get that as well. It's all going wrong for Hurricane as Gilles going to get past as well. This is very bad news for the top three. What they wanted was Hurricane to put up much more of a fight. And yeah, what I was going to say, oh, is Gilles going to be able to keep it? Hurricane's going to swoop back down the inside into the next corner and get that position back. Surely gets that position back. What's Gilles going to do? Gilles still alongside. And now X90G is fancying a move. Can't really do it around the outside. Yeah, loses out to that. Gilles gets a great exit there. And now we are very nose to tail between these three. Look how close the gap is between them. As we come into this right-hander, what's Gilles going to do? Is he going to try and go in? No, he doesn't. Oh, I thought he was going to lose it. He manages to keep hold of it. Brummy is in this fight now as well. And you can see how the two that overtook Hurricane have absolutely got away. But they are about to have a nice little battle between themselves as well. Henna's deciding to tuck in behind Chris for some reason. Not quite sure. Maybe there was some contact between them. So Henna's put, yeah, he just keeps going off track very slightly there. Now he's trying to defend into the corner. And he doesn't have... Yeah, he just lets him through. There's no reason for him to lift there. They're not teammates either. So again, this is great news for Chris. He's been released, he has no more traffic and he can try and hunt down the top three now. Let's see what the lap times are looking like. So Filthy, 25.4. 25.2 for Tab, so he's actually catching Filthy. 25.3 for Shadow. 25.6 for Chris, even with the overtake. And then a 26.3 for Henna's. And a 26.6 for Hurricane. Look at this. Everyone. This is the Hurricane train today. And everyone is stuck in it. So okay. So taking stock in terms of strategy here. Hurricane is still holding up a huge chunk of the field for Filthy, Tap and Shadow, and now for Chris and Henna's as well. So these guys all have a great opportunity. If Gilles can't get past Hurricane, if Gilles has been struggling a little bit more with the overtakes compared to some of these other guys, by the looks of things, then it is going to essentially ruin everyone's race behind, and that includes X90G and the other podium sitters from race 1 who are starting to catch up to this group. Oh, he's gone off track a little bit. You can get away with doing that though, as long as you don't go fully off track. Didn't lose any speed there. Now can Gilles get a really good exit from this final corner and get a move done on Hurricane into turn 1? No, it doesn't look like the Huracan's got enough beans to do it. Not on such a short straight. So if you can't do it into turn 1, you have to try and do it into turn 2 by getting an amazing exit out of turn 1, which you just saw Gilles didn't get as good of an exit compared to Hurricane there. Then we've seen a few people absolutely chuck it into this corner. Is he gonna? No, he's thinking about it. Hurricane's completely out of shape into the corner. This should give Gilles a better exit onto the back straight. It's not that great. And yeah, he's nowhere near enough alongside, and Hurricane can easily close the door there. X90 just lurking in the background as well. Henna's looking a little bit sloppy ahead as well. He's allowing Chrissy to get away from him. What's happening a bit further forward? It looks like, yeah, Filthy, is he coming into the pits? It looks like he is coming into the pits, so he did stay ahead of everyone, which is challenge number 1. Now, is he going for the softs or the mediums? That's the thing. Is he putting in fuel? If it was me, I would just be, no, he's putting in fuel, so he must be going for a medium stint here. Oh, is he going to come out behind everyone though, or is he going to be ahead of this little pack? Crucially, he is ahead of Zab downwards, and he can just drive away from them. He's on fresh mediums now, putting in all that extra fuel. Probably didn't lose him any positions actually. So this could have been an absolute blinder, because he's going to put in less fuel on his second pit stop and be able to overtake people that he's potentially going to get stuck behind here. So we got Brummy down here. Something happened to him a couple of laps ago. He lost 12 seconds. Kling had his incident on lap 3. Zabs must have been on lap 1. And Harry on lap 5. And Jack had an incident on lap 3. So Tap takes the lead of the race now. Is he going to be able to extend a gap on Shadow enough to avoid getting overtaken in the pits? That's the question. They're going to stay out for a fair bit longer, potentially lap 10. I can't remember when the pit stops happened. I think it was, you could do a 12 as well if you fancied extending even longer. Chris looking pretty fast now, 25.0. That is 1.3 seconds quicker than Shadow and 8/10 quicker than Tap. So Chris is a real contender to win this race now with the pace that he's got. You can see everyone is starting to close the gap. Hurricane's actually lost that position to Giles. So where'd that happen? Giles getting alongside and finally getting the move done. And Hurricane fending off X90G now and Hasnain, and that's Higgsy behind it as well. Yeah, everyone's really struggling to pass at Brands Hatch. Okay, looking fairly comfortable now. So Giles is already creating a gap. I think he might have a little bit more pace than Hennes at this point in the race as well. So it could be on for a bit of a top 5 there. Let's have a quick check-in again with Filthy. He's made a mistake. How'd Brummy get past him? He makes a mistake out the final corner and allows Brummy to get the overtake done. This is a disaster for our race leader from a lap or 2 ago. Now Brummy's ahead. Fortunately for Filthy, Brummy's got some good pace here. But yeah, he's going to get stuck behind him because look how worn Brummy's tyres are compared to him. So that is the downside at running things so fine. That you come out only just ahead of a pack because one of them managed to get past you. He's got Kling fairly close behind. I don't think he's going to come under any sort of pressure. What's Harry fancying doing? He's going to go for a move on Zab. Not right now. Shadow's having a good lap. He's caught right up to Tap again. This is potentially the best that we've seen Shadow do so far this season. Seems to have some really good pace around Brands Hatch. 25.1 is his quickest lap. That is 3/10 quicker than what Tap was doing, and 3/10 quicker than what Chris was doing. 25.7 for Hennes and a 25.5 for Giles. And then, whoa, looks like we just saw X90G get the overtake. I know he's already got past Hurricane. Where did that happen? Looks fairly similar to how Giles did it. And then Hurricane's going to have to defend from Hasnain here. He's trying to get himself back in so that he can't go for a move, but he does. Okay. Now Hasnain trying to get past Hurricane into turn 2, and he does get it done. So yeah, it's starting to go a little bit wrong there for Hurricane. He does also go a little bit on the grass, gets away with it. So Hurricane down to 8th now. Arukis has recovered and joined the back of this pack, finally. So despite his big mistake there at the beginning of the race, going off in turn 1, the pace of Hurricane essentially is what is saving Arukis. And this has happened throughout all the tiers really, where you could recover from a mistake pretty well if a driver driving a really bad car in terms of speed, or who just doesn't have the pace, and he's going for it on Higgsy. That was a little bit of a push to pass, in my opinion. Not the best. Hurricane's in the pits now, so he's going to get the undercut done on all these guys. Oh, in comes Higgsy as well. A little bit of contact there. Filthy, what's he going to do? He's actually losing a lot of pace to Brummy. But yeah, Filthy is going to stay ahead of the guys who've come into the pits. There's Hurricane just coming out now, going side by side with Harry, who's instead been spooked off track there and is poor race. Oh, and it's just been hit by Jack for some reason. What have you been doing? Yeah, Jack waits for him, but Jesus. Well, actually, he gets a bit of a knock from Higgsy, who's coming out of the pits. Higgsy putting in some fuel here. Higgsy should have just gone for a full tank, I think. Yeah, and completely missed the corner. That would be a penalty for Higgsy, and then, to be honest, I don't know why Jack's waiting, because that wasn't really his fault. So back at the front, battle for the lead. Tap was a 10th quicker than Shadow on that previous lap. And yeah, Chris seems to be struggling a bit more with his tyres now compared to the top two. He's losing a couple of tenths every lap now. Henna's in the 26s. Everyone lapping fairly consistently and similarly here. Looks like Hasnain fancies a position here on the driver who beat him to the sprint race, X90G. We might actually start seeing some drivers diving into the pits here. Tap's carrying on. Shadow's coming in. Oh, maybe that's a 3-second penalty. Now, remember, Filthy was ahead of him. Is he going to put in any fuel? He could just go straight back out. No, he's put in a tiny amount of fuel here. Now, is there going to be a 3-second penalty when he comes out? No, he actually gets away with it. And he is well ahead of Filthy. Filthy's just coming through now. Filthy's behind Gilles, who's come into pit as well. But Filthy put in a lot more fuel than these guys, remember. So if he could stick with them, he could overtake them in the next pit stop. Filthy's ahead of Hurricane. Hurricane out on the softs now. Then Higgsy's out on the mediums. Yeah, let's have a quick look at what tyres everyone's still on. So we got these guys are still yet to hit the top 4, and Arukas, whose tyres are completely dead right now. Shadow's out on very fresh mediums, and a little bit of clear air to Arukas, who might not give him much trouble. I think people will be coming in at the end of this lap. Henna's fresh mediums, so he's a net P2 now, just behind Shadow. Then you got Gilles. Filthy's lost out to all 3 of them with his decision to put fuel in. Then Hurricane, Higgsy, Brummy, who we saw overtake Filthy. He's putting a lot of fuel. Zav's putting a lot of fuel as well. Jack's putting no fuel, and that's allowed him to get ahead of Harry, who's got a 3-second penalty. And Kling, who put in a full tank on softs. So that'll be wearing the soft tyres quite quickly there. Tap carries on again. Actually, no one's decided to come into the pits. Tap might be potentially trying a 1-stop, or he's going as long as possible to put on 2 sets of softs. So 30.9. 30.9. 31.1, and we've missed what Hasnain managed. So yeah, X90G not showing the same kind of pace that he did in the sprint on these very worn medium tyres. Surely we'll be seeing some more pit stops towards the end of this lap. Arukis is getting caught a little bit by Shadow. Oh, and he's gone off track as well. The tyres are almost completely dead on Arukis' car. This could be a bit of a problem for Shadow. He's trying to get a lovely undercut done on tap to get the position. And Arukis is very slow here. Even still, I'd imagine it would be enough to get the jump on tap. If tap comes in, it doesn't look like tap's coming in. It doesn't look like Chris is coming in either. Arukis is the driver who's coming in. He couldn't make it last any longer. Remember, he had that huge spin turn 1. Recovered pretty nicely. Is already a pit stop down on the leaders though. Is putting in some fuel. Not much. This is going to be a soft stint. And he is out just ahead of Higgsy. And he stays in the top 10. He's still behind Hurricane, who is battling with Filthy now. Filthy on the mediums and Hurricane on the softs. Although Hurricane looking a little bit out of sorts in sector 1, 6/10 down in just those two corners. Yeah, so Hurricane's strategy is interesting. I'm not sure going on to the softs at this stage when everyone else is on the mediums is the right decision, because he's looking a little bit like he's getting held up right now. Rummy back down to 12th after his stop. Is Tap finally coming in? No, he carries on again. What about Chris? Carries on again. X90G, his tyres are looking pretty bad and he's coming in, so Hasnain gets promoted into the top 3. This is probably soft tyre territory to the end now. With an extra pit stop, of course. Just putting over 50% fuel. Out on the softs, out behind Hurricane, but he is going to be ahead of Higgsy again. So Higgsy's just lost out twice there, coming out of the pits. The undercut not really working too well for him. X90G still, well, is behind Arukas there as well, so he's going to have some overtaking to do. And Hurricane, who is not holding anyone up while he's on these soft tyres right now, but he has probably lost his window of opportunity to overtake Filthy, because his tyres are starting to go off now. Well, at the front, how's Tap gonna, is he gonna come in finally on this? We're over, yeah, okay, we're over halfway through. So this is huge for Tap. He's extended longer than anybody. Shadow might take the lead of the race here. Chris has come in. I'm expecting Hasnain to come in as well. You can see someone coming into the pits. Tap is putting in a lot of fuel here. Looks like Shadow is already past him and going into turn 1. Chris putting in very little fuel. He's actually got the overtake on Tap done in the pit lane there. And Tap comes out in 3rd now. So this is probably not what he was expecting to see, Tap. Chris out on the fresh softs, able to attack Shadow on the mediums, who might start. Holding everyone up, sorry. So, overfueling messed you up. Yeah. But you're still in a decent position there. Henna's on the mediums isn't going to be putting you under too much pressure. Gilles on the mediums as well. Then we got a Filthy train. It looks like Arukas has got past Hurricane. And we'll be chasing down Filthy now as well. Filthy was the first to pit because he was the only one on the soft tyres. And that means his mediums will be a lot more worn than anyone around him. But yeah, he's lost his opportunity potentially to get a top 5. and he needs to try and keep these guys behind as long as possible because he has more fuel. He'll be able to retake them in the pits with an undercut and with less fuel going in the tank. But if they get past him now, I think it's going to be a long road. Aruka's going around the outside there. Peugeot versus Porsche. Looks like the Peugeot's going to win out. Filthy has to tuck in behind. He can't do anything else. Hurricane now coming under pressure from X90G. And also trying to get an overtake himself done. We're in one of those overtake or be overtaken situations. Hurricane moved back into the racing line under braking, which is a bit naughty. Didn't cause any incidents though. Kind of like doing a two-footed tackle, but you missed the player. And yeah, that's just a great overtake there for X90G. Let's watch that again because that was waffling. Completely round the outside on fresher softs. Managed to get a great angle through the corner. And now he's got another driver to take pretty quickly. And I think he's going to be able to do it. Those softs are just working out fantastically for X90G. Two fantastic overtakes there in the space of a couple of corners. And now he's been kind of released from the drivers who were a little bit slow. We've got a change for the lead that we completely missed as well. So Chris putting a little bit of pressure on Shadow. Shadow going wide into turn 1 there. Not coping with the pressure too well, and he's left the door wide open for Chris just to completely send it. Doesn't actually fight it, so maybe that was a tactical thing. But yeah, those soft tyres looking really good now. And Tap on his softs will be able to try and catch Shadow as well in the next few corners, I'd imagine. I think we've seen... Yeah, Philpy's ahead of Hurricane. Oh, Higgsy's got a half second and he's not been able to keep up with these guys either. Hasnane, remember he was in P3 when he came into the pits. He's put in fuel as well. He's got more fuel than everyone. He's dropped really far back so far in this feature. So he needs to play a bit of a blinder here if he's going to get a top 5 position, let alone a podium, to be honest. But Higgsy's given himself a lovely 1 second penalty, so that's going to allow Hasnain to get this 1 position at least, and then he's got a bit of time to catch up to the train that Hurricane's currently at the back of. There we go, there's an easy position. Hurricane coming in for his second stop, completely dead tyres. He's going to do 12 laps on the mediums to finish. If he's got some clear air, this might work out fairly nicely for him. At least for this stage. So he's put in just over 50% to get him to the end. Out on the mediums, and he is comfortably ahead of Zab, and there's a big gap to Brummy as well. So Hurricane, he didn't look too quick on the mediums at the start of the race. He's got to find some solid time now. So back at the front we got Chris, set a 24 flat, that was his quickest lap of the race, compared to a 26 for Shadow on his mediums. 24.8 for Tap. Tap is firmly in contention for taking this P2 off of Shadow. Shadow defending quite well there. Oh, I keep pressing it. I've got fat fingers today. Right. Just as I join them, Shadow builds quite a nice gap in the last couple of corners. X90G trying to catch up to Rikas. Let's see what these lap times are. A 24.8 compared to 24.4, so X90G looking pretty quick at this stage. Asnane has just got past Filthy for P8, and guess what we've just missed? It's going to be a carbon copy of what Chrissy did. So, yeah, Shadow's just completely leaving the door wide open for that corner. Unnecessarily, because it's quite an easy corner to defend if you just cover off the inside. And he's not only lost the lead of the race, he's lost P2 as well. And his chances of getting a really high position are potentially slipping through his fingers slightly here. Tap, meanwhile, has slightly more fuel than Chris, but he's lost a huge amount of time. I mean, that last lap being stuck behind Shadow, he set a 26.2, whereas Chris was on a 23.8. So that's a huge difference in performance between the top two on that last lap. And Tap's got quite a mammoth task ahead of him if he's going to try and win this race. Something potentially has to happen to Chrissy. Chrissy's got worse tyre wear than Tap, so Tap should be able to reel him in a little bit for the remainder of the stint. I think Tap probably is staying out until lap 22. Maybe both of them will. They can survive until lap 22, that's for sure. Where's Hurricane? Now let's do a little Hurricane check since he's the first guy who's made his final pit stop. Down at 11. Filthy hasn't made his last stop yet. He's probably got to last another couple of laps here. Hasnain's passed him now. X9G's definitely struggling behind his teammate. Arukas has almost double the tyre wear. Oh, there we go, and he loses traction and lets his teammate pass. So X90G can try and catch Giles now. Giles a little bit further up. Not really trouble in the top step this season, Giles, but he's quite often in this exact position in a race. Which, I mean, you need to at least finish in the top 5 pretty much every week if you want to be winning the championship, but you do need to see the top step of the podium or the top 2 steps semi-regularly, which is something Chris has been able to do. I mean, his feature race pace today has been phenomenal. Anyone coming in this lap? I don't think so. Because you probably still have to pit for mediums if you were going to do that at this stage. Filthy's probably... Is he going to come in? He is not. Looked like he thought about it and then decided not to. There's a big gap to Higgsy, who can carry on for a bit longer. Then Hurricane on his fresh mediums. Let's see what this lap looks like. 25.8, not the worst, considering his quickest lap on the softs was only 8/10 faster. Rummy falling back again. He did a 1 minute 39 on lap 18, which might have been his pit stop actually. Trying to get the undercut done and do mediums to the end is probably not the best strategy with how everyone else has decided to play it. Although, look at that, that's the easiest overtake you'll see today. So, Chris carrying on, Tap's going to carry on as well, as there's at least 5 seconds between them. Shadow, is he going to start getting caught by Henners? Let's see what the lap times are. 26.1, Giles in, 26.59, so only by 2/10. And Arukas has come in as well. So these guys think that they could do 8 laps on the softs towards the end. Let's see. 8 is doable, to be fair. Arukas seems to have quite high tyre wear though, so I'm not sure that's the best idea for him. Giles trying to get an undercut done potentially on Henners here. Arukas out with a half-second penalty. Hurricane is going to be ahead of Higgsy. Still in 10th place. Yeah, and Higgsy coming out down in 13th. But there are a lot of drivers still to pit. So where is Filthy? Filthy must be struggling right now. He's up in 7th. He has to make another pit stop. I think we're going to see everyone pouring into the pits on this lap, surely. Because all these cars should be able to do 7 to the end. Yeah, Chris is in with 6% of fuel. Tap's coming in as well. Shadow's coming in. Henna's coming in. Henna's did catch him towards the end, and he's hit. Yeah, that was a bit dodgy there. Henna's in the pits. X30G comes in just fine. Hasnane comes in just fine. Then we have Filthy. Comes in just fine. Through goes Gilles. And he comes out just behind Hasnane, who overfueled in the first stint and has come out ahead of Henna's and X90G. So that's quite massive. So all of a sudden Hasnane's up in 3rd place now. Gilles with his early pit stop gets him up ahead of Henna's and X90G. And then we got Shadow in 7th. So it's all gone a little bit wrong for Shadow. Not able to do the old Lexus trick of overtaking drivers in the pits there. Actually lost a lot of positions. What happened there? He's put in way too much fuel, that's why. What is that? Why are you putting in almost 60% fuel? So that's the reason why Shadow is not going to be getting a podium here. Fine margins really matter in Tier 2. You can't get away with making estimations or forgetting to stop the fueling. You are just going to lose positions that you'll never gain back, especially with the added weight to the car, and the added weight also gives you added tyre wear. So he's completely messed up this pit stop, has Shadow. We've got Arukas 8th, Filthy just ahead of Hurricane. He's going to drive away from Hurricane because Hurricane's got knackered mediums. Brummy's got knackered mediums. Higgsy on his fresh softs might be able to get a top 10. Then everyone else is way too far back. So let's see what the gap is really between Chris and Tap. Remember, Tap overfueled in the first stint, lost that position, and it meant he could underfuel in this next one, and Chris isn't that far ahead of him now. So now we're in a position where Chris really can't afford to make any mistakes here for the rest of the race. That gap's probably about 2 seconds. No, a bit less than 2. Tap's going very quick here. But yeah, both of them have driven pretty well in this feature race. Slightly different strategies. Chris really utilising the no refueling on the first stop to jump a lot of people. To jump into first. Control his pace at the front. Tap did get stuck behind Shadow because he decided to put some fuel in the first stop. It's very difficult to know which decision is right because you don't know what the other cars are doing and you don't know the gaps between yourself and other cars as well. Yeah, Tap a couple of tenths quicker than Chris on that lap. Chris has been pretty quick this season, it's got to be said. Especially in the feature race. We know the Porsche doesn't perform too well in the sprints with the starts that it has off a standing start. And recovers really nicely in every feature race. Took the lead of the championship after the sprint race from Sam, who didn't compete. And now he's going to extend his lead. His Tap's not really in the hunt for the championship. Hasnaine missed a round. Gilles hasn't been on the top step of the podium yet. Henna's has struggled a little bit. He's shown pace but struggled for the results. So X90G is really the only other guy in the top 8, apart from potentially Gilles, who might be in there at the end of the season. Unless Hasnaine continues getting podiums every single race, then he'll be up there as well. So yeah, it's going to be quite a nice little title fight for the rest of the season, but it is looking pretty good for Chrissy. 23.2 is the fastest lap. That is 3 tenths quicker than what Tap managed. A fair amount quicker than Hasnaine. Yeah, and everyone else is struggling in the 24s here. Interesting. So yeah, the top guys really in a world of their own, these top 2. But yeah, all Tap will be hoping for now, essentially, is a mistake from Chrissy. Let's ride on board with Chrissy and see how he takes this second half of the lap. He's 6/10 down on his previous lap, so he's not doing it as well. He's approaching 50% one on the front left. Still using the full width of the track though. Although he didn't take the apex of that corner, which will have lost him a little bit of time. And then this is a very hard corner. You should be able to get on the throttle really early. You can see there, Chris got on the throttle, then lifted because he'd gone straight off wide there. And that's a whole second slower on that lap. But yeah, Tap failing to close the gap at all on that lap anyway. So yeah, the adjustments are being made for the wear of the tyre now. Yeah, Hasnain actually half a second quicker than the top two on that lap as well. Oh, Hurricane coming under a lot of pressure from Brummy here. Brummy's got so much more speed coming through these corners. Now, is he going to get a better exit? Looks pretty even. Hurricane will want to be defending the inside here. It doesn't look like he's wanting to too hard. Oh, Brummy's gone for it. Hurricane's going to try and get the cut back. And he doesn't chuck it in like Brummy did the previous corner. I think I would have if that had happened to me. So yeah, Brummy gets that position. Should be an easy P9. Arukis starting to catch up to Hurricane now as well, but his soft starting to wear. And maybe he'll come under pressure from Higgsy. So 2 laps left. 30.7, 30.5. Tap is quicker than Chris at the moment. Although he had a terrible lap the last lap, which has probably completely removed any chance of winning. X90G only able to really make up 4 positions off the race start. And yeah, Hasnain getting the on course for a podium despite dropping all the way to the back at the start of the feature race as well. But again, we had that Hurricane train which allowed him to catch up. And his decision to put in fuel in his first stop allowed him to get a huge undercut on quite a lot of drivers in the second one. So he got the strategy pretty spot on. Starting the final lap now. Let's join with Chris as he takes turn 1 just a couple, maybe 3 seconds ahead of Tap. 24.7 was his lap compared to a 24.5 for Tap. So still lapping very close. Plenty of tyre life, plenty of fuel left. This will be, I don't know how many times this will be his second win of the season actually. So he won the feature race in Dragon Trail. He came second in the feature race in Nordschleife, and he's going to win the feature race at Brands Hatch. That's a pretty difficult feat, to be honest. And then let's see what that's going to actually do to the standings. He's going to take an 18-point lead on X90G. X90G with his 1 win this season, the sprint in that we've just seen, and also have an equal number of point lead is Chrissy, 18 again from Gilles, who's going to finish 4th here. Always in the top 6, never a win for Gilles, so he's got some work to do there. Chrissy rounding the final corner to take this win, a great win for him. And yeah, his Title charge is definitely on. Tap P2 brings him up into 7th in the rankings. Hasnain is up into 4th despite only racing 2 rounds. Gio's, like I said, up into 3rd in the standings. Headers just ahead of X90G. That puts Headers in 8th, X90G's in 7th. Shadow could have been more, potentially. He is 11th in the standings now, after missing the Nürburgring round. Filthy, a pretty decent P8 for Filthy. That is ahead of Brummy and ahead of Hurricane in 10th. Then we got Arukas and Higgsy 11th and 12th. Then we got a big gap back to some of these guys. So the minor points. Zab getting 13th place. We've got Kling on his debut. Only going to get 2 points for his troubles today. Showed some good pace. I think a little baptism of fire making your first ALR debut at Brands Hatch. Very difficult track to make your debut at. But yeah, P14 for him. Harry's had a week to forget, as has Jack. Jack's dropping to 9th after scoring 0 points this week in the standings. So yeah, that's your lot. I'll try and do the next round fairly